My name is Ewan McHale. I'm a passionate game developer who has a long-running history with gaming that has led me to graduate with a bachelor's degree, allowing me to study a Masters of Art in Indie Games Development at Falmouth University. I aspire to be working within the games industry someday, specifically as a level designer. I have spent more than half of my life at this point creating maps for various games I enjoy. From a young age, I was driven to create within games, which got me hooked on multiple indie games such as Minecraft and Terraria. Both games gave the power to the player to create whatever they wanted, and this aspect of gameplay has remained one of my preferred genres in gaming. I later started to develop maps in the Call of Duty franchise, and still do so to this day within my free time. I wanted to study this Masters to give meaning to my hobbies and fulfill my clear lifelong dream of becoming a level designer within the industry. That isn't solely my focus, however, as I also enjoy most other aspects of game development, as I find the creative side of modelling, audio design, script writing, and digital artistry interesting, which is why I would like to explore these topics in further detail on this course. Within the first module at Falmouth, I have faced a variety of challenges, obstacles, and hurdles that I had to overcome, and I would like to spend this video reflecting upon the most grueling and educatory of these challenges. During the first week, the students were asked to audit our current technical skills, allowing us to structure what areas we wanted to focus on as we moved into this module. On screen now, you can see each of my skills and how I place my knowledge in each area. While not being set in stone, this task helped me to decide on what areas I needed to focus on and how much I could reasonably push myself in the relatively short amount of time we had, all things considering. Now, in no particular order, here is the list of my major accomplishments from this module. I have practiced blocking out level concepts through reverse engineering of a chosen artifact. I have undergone the process of planning a level for a rapid ideation task. I managed to advance my skill set greatly within modelling software, specifically Blender. I have learned how to go about creating custom rigs for varying character models efficiently. I have seen significant improvements to my animation through keyframing. I was reintroduced to Unreal Engine due to working in other engines for several years. I tried out and got to grips with Unreal 5 for the first time in a practical environment. I have made major leaps in my understanding of Unreal's blueprinting system. And finally, I already see large improvements to my overall work ethic compared to where I was just 1 year ago. Starting with week 3, I began working on blocking out a level concept through reverse engineering a pre-existing artifact of my choice. I decided that I wanted to have a go at adapting the original 2D Green Hill Zone level from the classic 1991 game, Sonic the Hedgehog, into a 3D space. I knew that this would prove to be an interesting challenge, as Sonic Team has tried to adapt the level themselves multiple times, with varying levels of success. I decided to use Unreal Engine to accomplish this, as I wanted to reintroduce myself to the engine before any major tasks, and I went into the conceptual stage with some key rules in mind. As I was creating the level, I was constantly thinking about how user-friendly it would be, and how closely I needed to stick to the source material, while having a unique flow limited to the third dimension. This task was really engaging to create, and I am proud of how the level looks. However, I would have liked to have been able to make a larger level, as I originally envisioned a much vaster space for the player to explore. Time efficiency is something I want to strive to continue working on, as it rears its ugly head throughout my journal. I can confidently say that I am making progress towards this goal, but it's still going to be a while before I see any major leaps in the amount of work I can produce. Moving into the first rapid ideation session, for this week we were tasked with creating a game of our choice using a Dixit card which can be seen on screen now. I decided to work independently for this task, and I wanted to create a 2D side-scroller set inside a whimsical house where the gameplay revolved around talking to mounted animal heads to ease their pain in the afterlife, while giving the player several fetch quests to complete. I would use Unreal Engine 5 to achieve this, as this was the first opportunity I had to get fully hands-on with the engine since the start of the module. I originally had ambitious plans of having a dialogue system, cutscenes, quests, and 2 endings, which unsurprisingly didn't pan out well. I threw myself into work optimistically for this task, when I should have been calmer and more methodical in my approach. I clearly struggled with reining in my ideas, which is something I aim to get better at in future modules. I always try to put my best work forwards, so to be unable to achieve everything I set out demotivated me on this task, and you can clearly see the unfinished locales and mechanics within the gameplay. By changing my mindset to allow for mistakes, I will stop being slowed down by myself, which should improve my time efficiency along with my motivation. However, had I not come up short for this task, I know I would not have had the knowledge required to allow me to produce a great product for the next one. The second rapid ideation task was much more of a success, as I now had ample experience within Unreal 5 and could save massive amounts of time problem solving. Similar to the first rapid ideation sessions, we were given an image to follow as a guideline for our projects. I decided to team up with Joe Probes for this task, as we have previous experience working together, and we could cover each other's weaknesses rather well. We immediately came up with a rough plan for the game that we wanted to produce, which was going to be a first-person, light horror, narrative experience, in which the player must talk to an NPC character to progress their story. Both Joe and I identify as queer, and thus we wanted to inject some of that humour into this horror game. This project was a huge success for the both of us. We each worked on several areas of the game that all came together to create an immersive and cohesive package. I spent a huge amount of time working on scripting within Unreal Engine, with my knowledge of blueprinting seeing a dramatic improvement in depth. I also had to work on modelling, rigging, and animating an arm model for this project, which was very fun and a difficult task with how visible both the player and the NPC arms are. I also managed to make up for my previous failure by creating a new dialogue system which was much more user-friendly for both the player and the scriptwriter. I learned so much from this rapid ideation task, and I'll forever be grateful for how it's clarified aspects of Unreal blueprinting, 3D modelling, rigging, and animation that I've been confused by for several years at this point. However, in spending so much time on this project, it became blatantly apparent that I had overworked myself, as I was often working on it all day until the early hours of the morning. I had to take some time to fix my sleep schedule, and I have faced a small amount of burnout in the week after completion. I will take all the knowledge I gained from this project forwards, and I will ensure that I don't overwork myself again in future projects, as to avoid burnout and inconsistent work schedules. Joe and I produced a short developer commentary that goes into much further detail, explaining the scope and reflection for this rapid ideation task. Please feel free to give that a watch too, as it clarifies the game's themes and goes into areas not discussed here, such as voice acting, animation, and object interaction. The final week before submission gave me an opportunity to spend some extra time learning about some skills that I didn't have the opportunity to explore due to focusing on the dialogue system 2 weeks prior. The challenge task for this week wasn't that relevant to the games industry, so I instead opted to focus on completing some more practical work, as I find it gives me the best opportunity for reflection. I enjoy modding games that I play, and during this week I was playing a lot of PAYDAY 3, a game where you play as a criminal and are tasked with robbing different locations. This game has an active modding scene, with endorsement from the developers themselves, and with it being made within Unreal, I knew that learning how to mod these games could give me some good insight into good modelling and packaging practice. I created a custom outfit for one of the characters in the game, using Albert Wesker's suit, a character from this year's Game of the Year nominee, Resident Evil 4. I was able to learn how files are cooked from Unreal, and how these files are loaded into the game engine. Furthermore, I had an opportunity to observe good weight painting practice used by official developers after extracting models from both games, which I feel has majorly helped me understand how character rigs help to form animation. While not being the best week for me emotionally due to burnout, lack of motivation, and stress with deadlines nearly approaching, I still managed to spend my time focusing on my game development journey, which is something that I am proud of due to seeing a clear improvement over my work ethic with previous projects at university. And with that, we're caught up to date. Week 12 has allowed me to escape game development for a short while and further my skills within editing software. While video making is not a focus for me on this course, level designers and video editors will often collaborate when it comes to creating marketing for their products, so to be well versed in both sectors can improve the quality of both levels and potential trailers I make for games in future. I aspire to become a level designer someday, so naturally I wanted to explore level designing within this module. There have been several challenge tasks for this module that I felt were unable to be tied back to my career path as a level designer, but I made sure to explore level design whenever I had the opportunity to, specifically exploring level blockouts, conceptual planning, and finishing with a semi-complete level for my first rapid ideation task. I definitely want to explore level designing further in future, but due to it being one of my core skills, I felt this module lended itself nicely to allow me to explore other areas that I don't have as much experience with. My improved 3D modelling and rigging skills, for instance, will help me with my career, as I can create custom models for my environments and pose characters and scenes to use as set dressing. You have reached the end of my video presentation. Thank you for watching.